welcome to the Roanoke Real Estate Podcast with your host and realtor, the Frazier Hughes Experience. And do not forget to Hughes it or lose it.
And you're definitely going to want to Hughes it. Hi, this is the Frazier Hughes Experience Realtor, and welcome to the only Roanoke Real Estate Podcast, where we are talking real estate from the star city of Roanoke, Virginia and beyond. And that's exactly what I cover when it comes to selling your property and helping you find property as a licensed realtor in the state of Virginia. I look forward to serving you, and thanks for being a part of the podcast and listening today. I want to say hi to Mike out there in Roanoke, and thank you for listening. I know that you had mentioned earlier today that when I saw you that you really love the podcast. And also, I want to give a shout out to Roanoke's top electrician and handyman, Mark Older of Harmony Electric, who has been doing a lot of work for us here recently. And also another listener, as we give more shout outs. This is Sasha Haynes, licensed optician at BJ's. She loves listening to the Roanoke Real Estate Podcast. And then also Andrew Bailey of Star City Garage Doors. If you've got a garage door that needs to be fixed, this guy is the man, Andrew Bailey. So reach out to me if you have any need when it comes to working on your home here in the Roanoke area or anything else. I can really help you. So connect with me on social media, the Frazier Hughes Experience. On Facebook, and Hughes or Lose on Instagram, and my brand new website unveiled this week. It's Roanoke Area Listings. And why do I call it Roanoke Area Listings? Because I can help you with any home in the Roanoke area when it comes to selling and finding your home. In fact, we've got a handful of contracts underway right now, and I want to thank you so much for your referrals. It means so much. And don't forget to check out my latest property listed in historical downtown Roanoke, Old Southwest Roanoke, 416 Day Avenue. You keep the character and charm of the outside of the home, but the interior has been completely remodeled. And then, hey, do you want some lakefront property? Do you want to live on the lake, have a boat dock? Well, I've got one of the most inexpensive pieces of land at the lake, only 20 minutes from Roanoke, Virginia, Lot 9, Point Drive. And also, my latest listings will be taking place here in the next few weeks in Salem, Grandin, and Roanoke County, in North County to be exact. So, I like to always start off the show with something positive. And what do? Well, since I'm a Dale Carnegie graduate, I like to go ahead and reach into the archives of Dale Carnegie. I'm actually a graduate of the course and sold for Dale Carnegie. I think it's really important when it comes to having good communication skills. And I'm seeing a lot of people out there that don't even know how to communicate via email with a thank you or smiling or being genuinely nice. But that's exactly what Dale Carnegie teaches. And what I like to do is just randomly go into the book of Dale Carnegie's scrapbook, into his scrapbook, and just pull out something random and then share my experience and let you relate to it. So let's see here. This is from the writings of Dale Carnegie. It says, "Today is life, the only life you are sure of. Make the most of today. Get interested in something. Shake yourself awake. Develop a hobby. Let the winds of enthusiasm sweep through you. Live today with gusto." And live today with gusto is so important. Isn't it important to have some gusto in your life? I can relate to the fact that there are many people out there in today's world that do not have much gusto. They struggle, they complain, and the more negativity you breathe and speak, the more it comes into your life. Did you know, and this is according to Russell Wilson's mind trainer, Trevor McLeod, he says that if you speak something out loud negatively, then it's 83% more powerful, and that most people's illnesses are caused by speaking about them. Oh, my poor heart. I think you get the gist. And then having a hobby, something that you do, something that you enjoy. And maybe it's bikes. Yeah, maybe it's riding a bike. And that is our guest on the Roanoke Real Estate Podcast today. So if you want to be on the show, don't forget, it's not too hard. Just look me up. I'm easy to find. Hughes or Lose, Instagram, the Frazier Hughes Experience on Facebook. On the show today, a very special guest, and I stepped into the bike shop to record this podcast with Steve Ambrose, and I hope I pronounce his name correctly. You're going to hear it correctly during the podcast. It's a very unique name, but he owns Downshift Coffee, Bikes, and Beer. And the big question is, why in the world would you have somebody that owns a bike shop on your podcast? How does that relate to houses? Well, we're going to discuss today his move to Roanoke, why he chose the Star City to open up this very unique bike shop, which there's nothing else like it in the city. It's called Downshift Coffee, Bikes, and Beer. His beans are locally manufactured here in Roanoke, locally roasted, manufactured. It sounds like something synthetic. But the beans are from Roanoke, the beer is local, and then the bikes are too. And this is not your ordinary bike shop in downtown Roanoke because it's got like three parts to it. You've got a huge, massive deck where you can go and hang out and see the star. And then you've got beer, and then you've got awesome coffee, and then you've got the showroom, which has all the bikes, which is really cool. And then he's got what's called the pit. And that's a whole separate place where he goes to work on bikes. And he actually moved here from Alaska. And, during the interview, I asked him, like, how in the world did you end up in Roanoke from Alaska? I mean, how many people did you meet here in the city that are actually from Alaska? And why in the world would you open up a bike shop with beer and coffee? And we're going to find out about this. Plus, they've got tacos. They've got tons of delicious food. You can walk in there, order the food, sit on the deck, and have complete privacy. I told him I just wanted to lay out on the deck. I mean, he is such a neat guy. But how did I meet Steve? How did I come across Steve? Well, when COVID took place, the cycle class at my gym went away because all the gyms closed. Now they're open back up right now, right? But my bike had been sitting in the basement because all I've been doing is taking cycle and exercising. And I was like, man, I want to get back out on the road. How can I do this? Well, I started Googling bike shops that were open that would work on bikes, and Steve offered to do this. And not only did Steve offer to come pick up my bike, he's got this huge van where he will come and pick up your bike at your house. How cool is that? Who else does that? Nobody. He offered to come pick up my bike and work on it and tune it up, give me new tires. And you know what? I price shopped him because that's what I do, because I'm a salesman. I'm going to price shop you. If it's contact lenses, if it's a water bottle, or if it's my bikes and a bike, he came in at a really great price and took really good care of me and picked up the bike and then brought it back, and I was on the road again. And he's really nice. He's got awesome energy. So right now, as this podcast, I want to set the scene. I've taken my microphone and I'm sitting down with him on the deck outside, overlooking where you can see the star, overlooking downtown Roanoke, in this amazing bike shop roof deck. And I'm interviewing him underneath a umbrella, and it's about 90 degrees. So here we go. I'm hanging out here today. I have stepped into the shop. I am downtown now, downtown Roanoke, one of my favorite spots. I just love downtown Roanoke. I love everything it has to offer, the restaurants, the people, the energy, especially Downshift bicycles. And I'm here with Steve Ambrose, who opened up this shop, and I would pass it and I would think, beer and coffee and bikes? Hey, that seems like a good idea. They're right across the street from Angel of Assisi's. And I decided, hey, I want to interview this guy and incorporate it into real estate. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. So, Steve, you have an interesting story. You moved here. You moved here. We're going to talk about your home buying experience and talk about your bikes. Yeah. Okay. And I love riding my bicycle. I'm so thankful for it. So anyways, I'm going to move the microphone over here for us. So Steve, you how did you get here to Roanoke? Where did you come from?
Well, good question. So the short answer is Anchorage, Alaska, Dillingham, Alaska, Southwest Alaska. The long answer.
All right. So Alaska, is that where it's like daylight for 3 hours and dark the rest of the day?
In the winter, yeah, and in the summer it's backwards. So in the summer,
how does that work?
It's hard to deal with in the wintertime. Yeah, it can be up to 20 hours of darkness some days, depending on where you are in the state. There's a lot of difference between the south and the north, but some parts of it are completely dark all winter. And then you have the inverse of that in the summer. It's daylight all day.
So it's daylight. The sun may come up at six and not go down till 12 midnight?
It's even worse than that. It's like the sun will come up at 2 a.m. and go down at midnight, and that's your only gap, is that those 2 hours between midnight and 2 a.m.
Yeah, I've heard there's a lot of alcoholics there. Yeah. So are people crazy up there? Or
they
what?
can get that way. I mean, that's part of the reason why we left. You know, it can be really taxing mentally to deal with that. And yeah, I mean, alcoholism, domestic violence. There's tons and tons of problems. Albeit a beautiful place to be in terms of scenery. And natural resources. The life up there is not easy, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine because that sounds crazy. So, how did you end up in Alaska, and how did you end up in Roanoke with a bike shop?
Yeah, and crazy. Well, I left the lower 48 in 2006 to go adventuring with an ex of mine, and we moved to Canada. And then we moved south to Alaska, believe that or not. And then from Alaska, I met my current partner. And we decided we wanted to get out of the north, and we wanted to be a little closer to family. We knew children were kind of in our future, and so both of our parents live on the East Coast.
And you have a baby, right?
We do, yeah.
How old?
Brooks was born 12 weeks ago, so that's exciting.
Is he going to ride next to you on a bike?
I hope so.
Or on
I have a family bike downstairs I can show you that will fit him in the front right now in his little infant seat. So
cool. Awesome. All right.
But we ended up kind of picking the East Coast, and then we zeroed in on Virginia. And then we interviewed a bunch of different cities. We looked at Charlottesville and Virginia Beach and DC and Roanoke. And Roanoke really was a great spot for us because of the sort of commitment to the outdoors and the people and the cost of living. And it just checked all the right boxes.
Did you know you wanted to open up a bike shop?
Yeah, so that was part of the mission, was to find a place that could support a bike shop, that was a cafe and beer bar as well. So we had the idea and the business plan for Downshift going into this move. And we decided on Roanoke because we knew just by interviewing the people and the businesses here what their experience was like, and that it was a great place to end up.
Yeah, and how I met Steve was that during the COVID thing, my bike sitting in the basement, I was taking cycle class, the gym closes, and I'm like, I want to ride my bike. I miss it. And you picked it up at the house in the Downshift truck.
Yeah.
You're with your carrier service. That is a really kick-ass van, by the way. And you picked it up, serviced it, and brought it back, that is like 5-star customer service.
That's awesome. Yep.
And I really appreciate that. So it's good. I'm riding my bike again, and so you knew you were going to open up a bike shop. And how long have you been riding bikes?
Oh my gosh.
Your whole life? Or?
Yeah, I remember having my first, bike without training wheels at like age 5, right? It was a Huffy single speed, and I'd used that for 5 years, and then graduated to a Trek 800, which was like an old school rigid mountain bike. And then from there, I got my first like real mountain bike when I was in grad school. And grad school is really where I got into cycling. So like 2003, I started commuting and riding every day, and really saw the benefits of not having a vehicle and not being dependent on a vehicle for travel. And then
so did you have a car?
I did have a car. Unfortunately, just with my lifestyle and like being a field biologist and stuff, it just was really hard to not have a vehicle. I would love to live a vehicle-free life, and maybe I'll get there at one point in time.
It's kind of hard if like your parents live in Lynchburg. I guess you could take I don't know, I wouldn't want to pay, Uber to go to Lynchburg.
Yeah, there's lots. It's hard. It's really difficult to be car-free, and it's really impressive the people that can do that. But especially with family in the region, it's really difficult.
Yeah, if you got to take kids to school, it's not like you can just put them all in the side carriage of a bike.
Yeah. I mean, they do make family bikes, but it's hard. It's a challenge that infrastructure-wise and timing, and you don't have 2 hours to commute by bike everywhere all the time. And
let me set the scene for you here. At Downshift, you walk in the door, and there's a coffee bar on the left and a bunch of really cool bikes, and then they've got a rooftop here that we're sitting on that's gorgeous. You can see the star here from where we're sitting, and then you also have what do you all call it? The pit?
Yeah, so the pit is where our service takes place. Yeah, which is on 4th Street.
Makes me think of Metallica getting in the mosh pit. Okay, all right. So let's continue the story. So you pick Roanoke. Let's talk about your home buying experience.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So how did you pick where to live in Roanoke and your realtor?
Good question. So we had I met our landlord for our commercial property here. We met him just kind of randomly through the internet. He had some commercial listings posted, and we inquired about them for Downshift. And we said, hey, we're obviously going to be moving here. Can you help us on the sort of residential side? And he said, sure. And so he drove us around Roanoke. And I know...
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and we didn't... Really, what was cool about the